At the ASEAN +3 summit in Myanmar, President Park Geun-hye proposes a trilateral summit with neighbors China and Japan. Workers are disappointed as the Supreme Court has ruled layoffs at SsangYong Motor Company valid after a 4-year suit. And a Korean hospital has become the first in Asia to produce a bioartificial liver using the liver cells of a pig, holding promise for patients waiting for a transplant. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Friday, November 14th. I'm Luke Clary. President Park Geun-hye has proposed a trilateral meeting with China and Japan at the ASEAN +3 summit in Myanmar. She also stressed that North Korea's denuclearization and peace on the Korean Peninsula would bring peace to East Asia.
At the ASEAN +3 summit, President Park Geun-hye said she hopes to hold a three-way summit with China and Japan. She made this proposal while mentioning that a tripartite meeting of foreign ministers is slated for this year.
한중일 삼국 협력 관련해서는 저희는 항상 주도적이고 전향적인 입장입니다. 그러한 입장은 정상회담에도 해당된다고 생각합니다.
She also asked for the leaders' support in her Northeast Asia Peace and Cooperation Initiative. Park claimed that the Association of Southeast Asian Nations model of strengthened cooperation and trust building was applied to Northeast Asia. Referring to the Northeast Asia Peace and Cooperation Initiative Forum held in Seoul last month, President Park said that such regional bond would positively affect three-way cooperation among South Korea, China, and Japan. She also repeatedly stressed the importance of denuclearizing North Korea. The leaders at the summit supported her remarks about North Korea's denuclearization. They also agreed that peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula would serve as a momentum for peace in East Asia. The ASEAN +3 summit incorporated President Park's proposal for peace on the Korean Peninsula and in Northeast Asia into this year's chairman's statement. At the East Asia summit held earlier in the day, President Park urged the international community to launch joint countermeasures to prevent the spread of the Ebola virus and terrorism.
After a 4-year suit over layoffs at SsangYong Motor Company, the Supreme Court has ruled that the layoffs were valid. The laid-off workers were disappointed with the verdict, expecting a win after their success in the Court of Appeals.
In 2009, SsangYong Motor Company, which was under court receivership, announced its plans to lay off some 2,600 of its workers. The automaker's labor union confronted the plan by occupying the factory for 77 days, but 165 workers were eventually laid off. Among them, 153 filed a nullity suit. The legal battle lasted more than 4 years over two salient points required by the Labor Standards Act. The first was whether or not it was necessary to implement tight management as a reason for downsizing. The other was whether the company made efforts to avoid the layoffs. The Supreme Court has overturned the appeals court's verdict, which said the company's management wasn't tight enough to lay off its workers and ruled in favor of the automaker. In its verdict, the court said that the automaker was undergoing a prolonged structural crisis stemming from a decrease in tax benefits for its main product of SUV vehicles due to the global financial crisis. The court ruled that the company had the right to lay off its workers, citing tight management. The Supreme Court acknowledged SsangYong's efforts to avoid layoffs by freezing wages and implementing rotational leaves and early retirements. The laid-off workers expressed strong disappointment with the latest verdict, as they had expected to win the case yet again after their victory in the appeals court.
주변에 재판 끝나고 많은 분들 눈물을 흘렸습니다. 분노의 눈물이기도 하고 그 눈물은 또 다른 행동을 결단하는.
The laid-off workers said they would continue their strike demanding their reinstatement.
Students who took the annual College Scholastic Aptitude Test, or CSAT, yesterday celebrated their freedom late into the night. The cold drove many of them into movie theaters, and fewer incidents of drinking and other disorderly conduct were reported than in previous years.
These students who took the College Scholastic Aptitude Test yesterday are de-stressing by enjoying a street concert. The night was cold with temperatures plunging below zero, but the students who were celebrating out in the streets enjoyed their long-awaited relaxation and freedom.
수능 끝나고 친구랑 같이 놀러 와서 맛있는 것도 먹고 있다가 이렇게 공연도 해서 즐겁게 보고 있고요.
Many students opted to go to restaurants and movie theaters that offered special discounts to those who took the college entrance exam.
수험생 할인되셔서 6,000원씩 관람 가능하시고요.
네, 많이 받았어요. 앞으로도 할인 많이 받을 계획이에요. 놀이동산도 가고 싶고 음식점도 많이 가고 싶고 이쁜 옷도 많이 사고 싶어요.
They also didn't forget to give words of encouragement to other students.
이번에 수능을 전부 다 열심히 봤을 텐데 잘 본 애들도 있고 못 본 애들도 있을 텐데 절대 연연하지 말고 좀 더 노력해서 자기가 가고 싶은 대학 갔으면 좋겠어요.
There were much fewer incidents of post-exam drinking and disorderly conduct among students, which may be attributed to the unseasonably cold temperatures this year.
The best way to treat advanced liver disease is often getting an organ transplant, but many patients die before they find the right donor. One Korean hospital has become the first in Asia to produce a bio-artificial liver using the liver cells of a pig, holding promise for patients waiting for a liver.
A 50-something man fell into a coma last month after his ammonia toxicity levels surged due to acute hepatitis. He needed a liver transplant immediately to survive, but he couldn't find a donor. With no other choice, the patient was treated with a bio-artificial liver in the form of a dialyzer. He was able to survive and receive a liver transplant later.
죽어가는 사람도 살릴 수 있으니까 얼마나 좋겠습니까? 기술이 이렇게 좋은데 살 사람은 살릴 수만 있다면은 사는 게 좋겠죠.
A team of researchers from Samsung Medical Center has become the first in Asia to succeed in helping critically ill patients to survive until liver transplantation with the help of bio-artificial livers. Bio-artificial livers are made by inserting pigs' liver cells in a reactor and infusing patients' blood. This allows for the removal of toxins and supplies nutrients. The discovery is based on the fact that pigs' liver cells can replace human ones, but it's vital to cover the pig's liver cells with microcapsules to prevent them from causing an adverse immune reaction in the human body. After just 12 hours of connecting a bio-artificial liver to a patient's blood vessels, the patient can wait another week for a liver transplant.
기다리는데 시간이 많이 걸려서 기다리는 동안에 사망을 하게 되는데 그 기간을 이제 메꿔주는 기능을 할 수 있는 게 바이오 인공관이라고 해요.
The commercialization of bio-artificial livers is expected to save some 3,000 critically ill patients waiting for liver transplants.
The European Space Agency's Space Explorer Rosetta made a historical landing on a comet. This monumental achievement for mankind is likely to provide important lessons to propel Korea's own space technology to the next level. Korea has the ambitious plan to explore the moon by 2020.
The lunar orbiter detaches from the rocket launched from Earth. Then the landing vessel approaches the moon and makes a slow descent. This is an image of the lunar exploration project Korea is envisioning by the year 2020. Korea's first objective is to develop a test lunar orbiter by 2017. The nation plans to co-develop the orbiter with NASA, which is currently taking part in the Rosetta mission, and learn deep space communications and landing technologies from them.
로제타에서도 똑같은 기술이 운용되고 그런 그 협력을 받았는데 우리가 달 탐사를 할 때도 마찬가지로 나사로부터 이런 그 기술적 협력을 얻을 수가 있을 것으로 봅니다.
Then Korea is planning to develop its own orbiter and lander by 2018 and venture out to the moon on a locally developed rocket by 2020. The moon's gravity is only 1/6 of Earth's, but this is much stronger than the gravity of the comet currently being studied by the Rosetta spacecraft, so no problems are being foreseen for Korea's lunar lander. The chances of success for the lunar mission are high, since its satellite and robot technologies will be far superior to the Rosetta spacecraft developed 10 years ago.
다른 산업들을 견인해서 도약할 수 있는 그런 기회를 만들 수 있는 것이 이 달 탐사라고 생각합니다.
The success of the Rosetta mission is giving new hope to and raising expectations for Korea, which is attempting to join other aerospace pioneers with its own lunar exploration program.
The Seoul city government promised 4 years ago to raise the share of commuters on bicycle to 10% by 2020. And to that end, City Hall allocated 440 public bikes to Yeouido and Sangam-dong and wants to increase that number soon, even though usage is actually falling.
This unmanned bike rental station is located in front of Yeouido subway station. The daily rent is slightly less than $1, but few people make use of the service. This is because the bikes can only be used in Yeouido and are not allowed to be used outside the area.
사당에서 집 앞에 있으면은 타고 바로 여의도에 와가지고 자전거 바로 스테이션에 꽂아놓고 왔다 갔다 하면 교통비도 절약되고 좋을 것 같았는데 다른 지역으로 못 가는 게 아쉽긴 하죠.
The government spent approximately $2 million in public taxes to purchase bicycles and build the rental stations. Over the past 4 years, it also spent some $5.7 million on maintenance. However, the annual profits of the bike rental service only amount to roughly $137,000. Nonetheless, the Seoul city government is considering increasing the number of public bicycles to about 3,000.
서울시의 공공자전거 시스템을 전면적으로 개혁해 볼 생각입니다. 공공자전거 시스템을 대폭 확대해야 되겠다 이런 원칙을 세우고 구체적인 계획들을 지금 만들어 가고 있는 중이어서.
But experts say that even if the government expands the number of public bicycles, few people will use them as a way to commute.
서울이 이제 다른 나라랑 틀린 게 경사가 심하잖아요. 언덕이 많아서 자전거 못 타요. 자전거 도로 망이 확충이 돼야 되는데 그게 될까라는 생각을 갖고 있거든요.
The government will need to thoroughly reconsider its plan in order to avoid wasting more public taxes.
Poems by distinguished writers find new life in exquisite picture books, thanks to the efforts of well-known painters. Let's take a look at this artistic mashup.
A puppy with a playful look hops around. The baby goat thinks the puppy nagging him to play is a bother. Their adorable bickering is beautifully illustrated in this book. It's based on a poem written by Kwon Jung-sang, better known by her nickname Sister Mongshir, who's an activist for children's rights. Painter Kim Byung-ha drew these playful illustrations to her poem to create this book. It took 3 full years to finalize the design of the goat, which is the main character, and produce a storyline with the images.
시를 잘못 건드리지는 않을까, 만화처럼 해석한 건 아닐까, 이런 생각이 좀 드는 거죠. 그래서 그 적절한 지점이 어디일까.
The 15-book Korean poem picture book series has finally seen its complete publication after 11 years. The books are filled with illustrations and stories inspired by poems written by top Korean poets such as Yoon Seok-jung and Baek Seok. It took somewhere between 3 to 7 years to complete each book in the 15-book series. Pundits are praising the series, saying the poetic rhythm and lyrics harmonize with the drawings, opening a new horizon for illustrated books.
일반적인 소설이나 서사를 감상하는 것과는 또 다른 감흥을 주더라는 거예요. 이런 감흥을 그림체계로 가져와서 또 다른 감흥을 갖게 할 수는 없을까?
Touted as a beautiful series reflecting the nature, tradition, and culture of Korea, they've been exported to 6 countries, including France, Germany, and China.
As temperatures fall, a new ballad number released by one of the boy band Super Junior members is gaining traction. Here's today's Culture News Roundup.
The song At Kwang-il is about a man left alone after parting with a loved one. Sung by Kyuhyun, a member of the idol group Super Junior, At Kwang-il topped 7 domestic music charts immediately upon release. Kyuhyun said his own experience of past breakups helped him emotionally in recording the song. Actor Brad Pitt held a press conference upon his 3rd visit to Korea.
We never run before, why are we going to run now?
We're still in this fight! Still in this fight!
The actor is starring in the film Fury, a story about a U.S. tank regiment during World War II. The film captures the brutality of war and agonizing conflicts inside a cramped tank.
That we as countries can be ripping each other apart one year and the next year be having a meal together is ludicrous.
Renowned opera singer Im Hyung-ju will hold a concert at the Sejong Center for the Performing Arts. The concert is to celebrate the re-release of his fifth album, Finally. The tenor will perform a variety of hits from his repertoire, including Misty Moon and A Thousand Winds, in addition to opera arias.
It's the season of autumn festivals in Korea, and families and couples can spend some quality time gazing at autumn blossoms and trying local delicacies. Take a look. World Cup Park in Mapogu, Seoul is packed with visitors. Despite the chilly weather, a group of barefoot celebrators run into the water at the start signal and start searching for something in the water. They don't seem to mind the icy weather. They're catching shrimps. This event is part of the Mapo Naru Salted Shrimp Festival, which is being held right in the heart of Seoul. Before the Korean War, Mapo Naru was a famous trade center for salted shrimp. The festival commemorates the history of the area. Customers can buy salted shrimp at the festival much cheaper than anywhere else. Another attraction of the festival is the traditional Korean wrestling called shirim. It's the highlight of any market event in Korea. This festival is popular among families because here people of the older generation can enjoy the nostalgic atmosphere while younger ones have much to learn. This herb farm in Taean, South Chungcheong Province, is overcome with a nice aroma year-round. It's holding an autumn festival dedicated to chrysanthemums, which are a symbol of the fall.
가을 맞이해서 국화 많이 피고 한 곳에 오니까 되게 마음도 정화되는 것 같고
공기도 좋고 너무 이쁜 꽃들이 많으니까 스스로 힐링이 되는 것 같아요. 그래서 너무 좋았습니다.
The festival puts on display some 40 varieties of chrysanthemums of various colors and shapes. Their alluring scent makes visitors smile. There's even a healing center where visitors can relieve fatigue. After touring the farm, you can rest your feet here by taking a nice foot bath.
꽃 구경도 하고 볼 것도 많은데 돌아다니다 보니까 다리가 많이 아픈데 이렇게 조격도 하니까 다리 풀리고 좋은 것 같아요.
After the foot bath, you'll be treated to a cup of herbal tea. A day spent at the herb farm will give you the chance to heal both mentally and physically.
아무래도 가을 대표하는 꽃은 국화잖아요. 국화 축제 다 보러 다니고 그게 참 좋은 것 같아요.
Autumn is a perfect time to make special memories with your loved ones at local festivals that offer much to see and try.
Saturday morning, and we got all day. Baby, I've been missing you in the strongest way.
Now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again right here on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Goodbye.